66 million years ago, at the twilight of the dinosaur age, a giant walked the Cretaceous plains. Its head carried three massive horns, sharp as spears, and a bony frill that looked like a living shield. This was Triceratops, one of the last dinosaurs to ever exist before the Great Extinction. Despite its tank-like body and fierce weapons, it wasn't a predator. Triceratops was a plant-eater, peacefully grazing in herds. But don't mistake peaceful for weak. It stood ready to defend itself against the most feared killer of all time, Tyrannosaurus rex. Today we step back into its world, uncovering its strength, battles, family bonds, and final days. This is the story of the three-horned titan, a symbol of both power and fragility in nature's greatest age. The name Triceratops means three-horned face, a simple but fitting description for its skull. Its fossils were first uncovered in the 1880s, during the Great Fossil Rush in the American West. Early paleontologists were stunned by its horns and frill, unlike anything they had seen before. In fact, at first, some scientists thought they belonged to an extinct giant bison, but soon it became clear this was no mammal, but one of the last great dinosaurs. Over the decades, dozens of nearly complete skeletons were unearthed, making Triceratops one of the best-known dinosaurs ever discovered. Its fossils now dominate museum halls around the world, inspiring millions of visitors every year. For paleontologists, Triceratops has become a window into the final days of the Age of Dinosaurs, a creature that lived just before the asteroid struck. Triceratops was no ordinary animal. At nearly 30 feet long, 10 feet tall, and weighing up to 12 tons, it was one of the largest land herbivores of its time. Its body was wide and muscular, supported by pillar-like legs built for carrying enormous weight. Its bones were thick and solid, designed to resist impacts and support its armored skull. Despite its bulk, it could move steadily across plains, driven by powerful muscles and lungs that fed its massive frame with oxygen. Imagine standing next to one. Its head alone could be longer than a car, and its horns longer than a grown man's arm. To predators, it was a walking fortress. To its herd, it was a protector. In a world filled with danger, size was not just an advantage, it was survival. The horns and frill of Triceratops are its most iconic features. Two massive horns above the eyes curved forward, each nearly 3 feet long, while a smaller horn rested on its nose. These horns weren't just for defense, they were also for display, communication, and possibly even attracting mates. The frill, a giant shield of bone, protected its vulnerable neck from predators, but scientists believe it also played a role in identity. Different Triceratops may have had slightly different frill shapes, allowing them to recognize one another within the herd. In life, the frill may have been brightly colored with blood vessels running close to the surface, flushing red or orange during confrontation. To rivals, this was a warning. To predators, it was a reminder that Triceratops was no easy meal. In the same ecosystem lived Tyrannosaurus rex, the most feared predator of the Cretaceous. These two giants often crossed paths. Fossil evidence tells us the rivalry was real. Triceratops' bones show deep bite marks from T-Rex teeth, and in some cases signs of healing. That means Triceratops survived brutal attacks and lived on. In battle, a Triceratops could lower its head, horns angled forward, and charge with deadly force. A single strike could puncture a predator's ribs or even break bones. But T-Rex was no ordinary hunter. With bone-crushing jaws and massive size, it was one of the few threats capable of taking down a healthy adult Triceratops. Their clashes were prehistoric heavyweight fights, battles between predator and prey that shaped the very balance of life in the late Cretaceous. Triceratops was not a solitary giant. Like elephants today, it likely lived in herds, moving across the plains in search of food and safety. Adults may have formed protective walls around calves, shielding them with horns and bodies. This social structure offered strength in numbers. Predators would think twice before attacking a unified herd. Within these groups, Triceratops likely communicated with deep bellows, horn gestures, or even the color of their frills. Fossil trackways hint at group movement, with smaller footprints surrounded by larger ones. Life in herds wasn't just protection, it was family. Calves learned survival by staying close, while adults passed down the rhythm of migration. In unity, they thrived. In separation, they risked death. For Triceratops, survival wasn't just about horns and size, it was about loyalty to the herd, a bond as powerful as any weapon. Triceratops was a herbivore, but no gentle grazer. Its sharp beak was built to shear through the toughest plants. Inside its jaws were hundreds of teeth, arranged in rows like a living machine. These teeth worked like scissors, grinding down vegetation before swallowing. As old teeth wore down, new ones replaced them, keeping its jaws sharp for a lifetime of feeding. It favored tough ferns, cycads and palms, often sweeping its head across shrubs to strip branches clean. Its diet fueled its massive body, supporting the energy needed for migration and defense. In many ways, Triceratops acted like a natural lawnmower of the Cretaceous, shaping the ecosystem with every bite. By keeping plants in check, it created open spaces that benefited other herbivores. Eating wasn't just survival, it was part of the balance that kept its world alive. For such a massive creature, Triceratops had a surprisingly small brain, no bigger than a fist. But intelligence wasn't what kept it alive. Instead, it relied on its sharp senses. Its large eyes gave it keen vision, helping it detect movement across open plains. Its nostrils and nasal passages suggest a strong sense of smell, useful for detecting predators or finding food. Some scientists even believe Triceratops may have communicated through low-frequency sounds, vibrations carried across the ground. When combined with herd living, these senses made Triceratops highly effective at survival. A single individual might have been vulnerable, but a herd, all alert and reacting together, was nearly unstoppable. In its world, instincts mattered more than thought. For Triceratops, survival didn't require genius, it required awareness, strength, and unity. Not all battles Triceratops fought were against predators. Some were against each other. Fossils show healed scars on horns and frills, suggesting clashes between individuals. These were likely ritual combats, tests of strength and dominance, especially among males competing for mates. Much like elk or bison today, the goal wasn't always to kill, but to prove power. Two giants would lock horns, pushing against each other until one yielded. Dust would rise, muscles straining, horns grinding with dangerous force. For the victor, the prize was more than survival. It was leadership, the right to protect the herd and pass on its genes. For the defeated, survival often meant retreat, carrying scars as a reminder of the challenge. These battles weren't meaningless violence. They were nature's way of ensuring the strongest continued the line of giants. Triceratops didn't live alone. Its world was filled with other giants and predators. Hadrosaurs roamed in massive herds. Ankylosaurs defended themselves with clubs, and flying pteranodons filled the skies. Even Tyrannosaurus rex shared its environment, shaping the balance between predator and prey. This late Cretaceous world was diverse, rich, and dangerous. Rivers cut across fertile plains, volcanoes smoked in the distance, and forests of cycads and ferns covered the land. Triceratops thrived in this ecosystem, its herds moving through open landscapes while predators stalked from shadows. Every day was a test of survival. Every creature played its part in the grand stage of evolution, and among them, Triceratops stood out, not just as another herbivore but as a living fortress shaping the land and commanding respect in a world of giants. Nature is always a balance, and in the Cretaceous, that balance was brutal. Triceratops herds grazed at rivers, but danger was never far away. T-Rex watched from the forest edge, waiting for the weak or isolated. When predator and prey finally met, it wasn't just chance, it was the ecosystem in motion. If T-Rex succeeded, the herd lost one, but the predator fed. If Triceratops stood its ground, the predator failed, balance maintained. Survival was a cycle of life and death, and Triceratops played its role with strength and determination. Fossils remind us of this eternal struggle: bite marks, broken horns, scars on bone. Each is a chapter in the story of predator and prey, locked in a dangerous dance that shaped evolution itself. Triceratops wasn't just prey, it was an equal player in nature's most unforgiving game. But no strength, no herd, no defense could save Triceratops from what was to come. 66 million years ago, a mountain-sized asteroid struck the Earth. The skies filled with fire, the seas boiled, and darkness fell across the land. Plants withered, prey vanished, and predators starved. The balance was shattered. Triceratops, one of the last great dinosaurs, was swept away in the mass extinction that ended the age of reptiles. The world that had belonged to giants ended almost overnight. For millions of years they had thrived, but in a geological instant, they were gone. Triceratops didn't lose to T-Rex, or to hunger, or to weakness. It lost to fate, an unstoppable event that no creature could resist. Its story is not just about survival, but about how even the greatest can fall when the world itself turns against them. Triceratops was among the very last dinosaurs to ever walk the Earth. It survived until the final moments of the Cretaceous, holding on as long as it could. In its final days, herds likely grew smaller, food scarcer, predators desperate. Imagine a lone Triceratops wandering through a dying forest, trees barren, rivers drying, the air heavy with ash. Each step carried the weight of millions of years of evolution. But time was running out. In valleys filled with mist, the last herds disappeared, leaving only silence. Though extinction ended their reign, Triceratops became a symbol, the last stand of the giants. Its fall wasn't just the end of a species, it was the close of an entire chapter of Earth's history, a reminder that even the strongest can be humbled by change. Though the living giants are gone, their bones remain. Triceratops fossils are among the most common dinosaur remains, scattered across North America. Each skull, each horn, each frill, carries a story. Today, these fossils inspire awe in museum halls, where children look up in wonder at creatures that once ruled the land. Scientists study them closely, learning not just about dinosaurs, but about ecosystems, evolution, and extinction. The legacy of Triceratops is not just bones in stone, it is knowledge, wonder, and inspiration. From desert digs to museum displays, from classrooms to documentaries, the story of Triceratops continues. It connects us to a lost world, one filled with danger and beauty, and it reminds us that the past still shapes the present. Fossils are echoes, and Triceratops still speaks through them. Triceratops may be gone, but its legend lives on. Its horns, its frill, its battles with Tyrannosaurus. These images continue to capture our imagination. In art, film, and science, Triceratops stands as one of the most iconic dinosaurs ever known. It represents the strength of survival, the bonds of herds, the struggle against predators, and the inevitability of change. When we see its skeleton in a museum, we don't just see bones, we see a survivor, a protector, a giant that once ruled the land. Its story is a reminder of Earth's past, but also a warning for our future, that even the mightiest can fall when the world changes. Giants die, but legends never fade. And among those legends, Triceratops will forever stand proud, the three-horned titan of the